All right, we're back today again. This is the following morning after I wrapped up yesterday when I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. So I did a little bit more research and let me show you what I found. So here inside of the actual service manual, which is again chock full of very, very useful information. You got a drivability and emission control. This is section 6E. I'm just going to go over a few things. I'm not going to try to go in depth into the diagnostic system here because, again, I'm going to make a separate video for that because I think there's bits and pieces of the diagnostic system out here, but I have gotten a good understanding of it now to actually do a walkthrough with it. So anyway, I'm going to show you a few things here that I've learned that's going to be useful in our diagnostics here. First of all, when you got a current code, it kind of gives you a spiel here on that. And then we got a history code. There's a spiel here on that. You can pause the video and read this. But the important thing here is it says here, after 50 ignition cycles, the history codes will be cleared, which is interesting within itself. And when you go to the display code, now you're going to have E codes and F codes. Now, E codes are going to be for the engine. F codes are going to be for the BCM. Now, however, when you do see the E codes, if you have an E code with just a single E, that is what you would call a stored code. But if you have a code with an E in front of it, that means that is the current code. Basically, if your check engine light is on. In some cases, you do have codes that don't turn on the engine light, check engine light, or the check or the service car light, vehicle light, because this car got actually two different lights. I'll show you in a second. But either way, that means it's current. And the same thing with the body. You have a single F stored, double F. That means that is current. Here are the codes here. Now, we were chasing E13. You notice we got the telltale sign A and P. And if you look at E44, that's the other one, telltale sign A and P. And also look at E45. A and P. Now, what does A and P mean? A and P means the service engine soon, its light is on, and also says enables canister purge. So what does that mean? I feel like it could mean it could close or open the purge valve because this P is for the lean or the rich condition of the oxygen sensor, but I don't know that. So if you got any comment on that, please put that one below. Now, take a look at this one here. Now, you got some engine lights here. If you look at telltale C, it will set a code that would actually be current, but it will not show a telltale sign because, again, you got a service engine soon, which is anything dealing with the engine, and a service vehicle soon, basically anything dealing with the body control module. One other thing, yesterday, if you remember, I did change my battery yesterday. So what did that do? That erased the E13 and the E44 that was stored in the PCM. However, we still can go through this prospect now to check the wire integrity, at least at the connector. Because again, if I'm getting all likelihood it's just the oxygen sensor is just very old and need to be changed. And it's just reacting a little slow. But what I'm gonna do is I wanna check the wiring integrity at least to some degree of confidence to say, well, it's probably not that's the issue. I'm gonna spray some deoxit on the connectors and then just ride it for a week or two and see what happens. But in the meanwhile, I want to learn as much as I can here. All right, so what is the next thing here we're gonna talk about here? Oh, I'll show you something else cool. This right here is just for your own knowledge. You can stop and read this section here if you want. You can pause the video here. This right here basically is freeze frame. So GM basically had a Tech 1 built right into this car and had, I don't know if I'm not saying they was the first, but this was the predecessor to the freeze frame that you see in OBD2 data now. Another cool thing is that I want to show you that if you look at all this gibberish on the screen, this would be the ECC, which is electronic climate control module digital interface. Each one of these things correspond to something being on or off or engaged or not. So it's just the front or rear defrost button, the econ auto or off, I guess, symbol here correlates to the throttle, PCM operating an oxygen sensor, and also this auto fan that you know if the fan is on or not. So you can look in the car and tell what is happening based on just on this screen in conjunction with the codes, in conjunction with the data pairs, which you're about to see here in a second. So now, what we are going to do here, and if you look at this whole chart here, this is kind of the flow chart of how you get into everything. So basically you would start here and you would hit the high and the low, and this puts it into diagnostic mode, and then you're going to go through the codes. It's going to check the E codes, it's going to check the F codes, and then you can go here to depress the brake and do some other things. Here you can go into the sort of these sort of PCM switch tests here, these PCM output cycling here. But once you get to 0.7.0, again, it's ready to go in some other function here. So we're just going to follow this flow chart all the way across here. There's other things up here as well. We're not going to worry too much about that. And then we're going to end up coming to here, to the PCM data, where we can just hit the low and go into the PCM data, and then we can use high and low to go up and down, to go up and down this list here. And what we were interested in is 0.1.4, which is oxygen sensor volts. Pretty simple, it seems. Again, I've already done it, so I know how it works. Now, let's go to the E13 code, and I'm gonna show you what I think I was doing wrong here. All right, so I'm gonna just do the Cliff Notes version of this. So yeah, I might skip over some stuff by accident. If I do, I'm sorry about that. But first of all, you want to look at the test conditions here. And one of the test conditions is 800 RPMs or greater. So that means that the engine needs to be running. But if you go up here to the first step, it just says key on enter diagnostics and then perform these tests. Now, if you notice, this has got a 1 here and this has got a 2 here. So if you look at the notes on the fault tree, only in note 2 does it say that it needs to be running, but it does not say anything about it running in this first part here, because even here it says engine running in note 2. However, going further, if you look at notes on intermittence, it says E13 is a history code. Start the engine, enter diagnostics, operate the engine at fast idle to the auto. Remember, auto lets you know if you're in closed loop or not. So anyway, go into the closed loop. And then you check the circuits and you check, the parameter 1.4. So I believe the car just needs to be running for this test. So that's pretty much it that we're going to take a look in here. We're going to come back and maybe take a look in this book here in a second. But what we're going to do now is that we're just going to go ahead. I'm going to set up stuff. I'm going to get inside of the car here, set up some stuff. And we're going to look. I'm going to also hook the scan tool up, and I'm going to have that comparing to the diagnostic center to see will we get any differences in the data, that it's outputting. So anyway, let's do that. All right, guys, so I'm in the car. I got the car started up, and I'm looking here at the oxygen sensor. I guess let me back this up here a little bit here. And the voltages are basically on the lean side at the moment, but again, that could be because the car just, I've never looked at this, so I don't know why, but it's in a closed loop, open loop. So let me scroll down here. If I can get the open, because this thing got a lot of data pins. Let me get to that real quick. Okay, loop status is open. So let's take a look inside of the data parameters here. So what you would do is you would come on this screen here, you would go to off and warmer and go into diagnostic mode here. And you notice everything kind of just went look crazy here, and even on this side here. And what you'll notice that nothing is lit up here yet. And we got an E52. And what that means is that if you saw that just means that the PCM got reset. Remember, I changed my battery. And we're on the 7 now. So if we go over here to low, let me show you what I'm gonna hit this low and watch what happens over here. Let's see, that went over there to the EC, the computer data here. So let's go to, let's see if we keep hitting it. It says high fan. Okay, that means something. We want to go to one. We got to go a few more. Keep hitting it. We're going to go to 1.4. Whoop, just pass it. Went too far. There we go. So the voltage right now is saying 0.1 something. Okay, that's that. And let's go back to, let me go back to see what it's saying here on the scan tool. Let's see here. It's so hard. Give me a second here. Give me 1 second here. Oh, loop status closed. So what happens is that when any of the, all right, the loop status is closed, and as you see here, we got the auto right here, like you're supposed to. And what it's saying is that, well, it's in closed loop. Now, what I really want to see is the oxygen sensor volts. Okay, right here it's still saying 1 point something. Give me a second. It's taking me a second to scroll to this. I have no idea why, what is going on here. Okay, the oxygen sensor voltage here that I'm getting through this is, yeah, it's fluctuating about the same, 0.1, 0.2, and it's still fluctuating about the same over here. But we're not getting a good, consistent reading here. So what this is saying is that oxygen sensor is running on the lean side. But let's go check the actual, the actual, you know, we take the connect off. Because when we take the connect off, this here should go to 0.45. So let's go do that real quick. Let me set you guys up out here, and then show you what we got. I'll try to cut as much out of this video as possible here. God damn. All right. All right, we got that disconnected here. Let's see what we're working with now. Now look at that. See, everything is looking good. Now that's how it's supposed to look, 0.45, okay? Now let's go jumper these wires and see what happens here. Let me jumper these wires. And this right here should work this time, I hope. Okay, I did notice a difference. Let's see what we got here. I did notice a difference in the engine here. Okay, so when I jump these wires across, nothing changes with the actual voltage here. P14, PP. So I'm not sure why it's not changing. I'm not sure if I got my jumper right. But anyway, let me see if I got this jumper situation right here, because I'm not even sure if what I got is a good enough connection. So let me stop this right quick and I'll be right back. Maybe I'm just crazy here, but I think what they're saying when they're saying jumper oxygen sensor is basically just plug it back in. And if you get voltages between this and this, the oxygen sensor is performing normally. And if we go back in the car and look at the data pid, that's exactly what we are seeing here. We're getting between 0.06 and 1.1. We're not seeing anything outside of that range. So, you know, it might fluctuate just a tad bit, like when it went down to 0.3 or 0.4, but for the most part, it's fluctuating in there. And so that means that, well, the PCM is responding to, you know, the oxygen sensor as it should. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this at least a circuit to the PCM at least good enough for right now. And I guess the next thing I'll do is just take some deoxit and just spray in there. And maybe that may even actually even resolve, I wouldn't say resolve the issue, but might make it have a better connection. So therefore to have a better, you know, response time, who knows? So anyway, to get out of this diagnostic, you know, mode, just hit the auto button and it goes right back to, you know, what you see here. Of course, my mouse to the gallon is bad because I'm just letting the car sit here and idle. But there you have that. So let me get out the car and do a few things, and then we'll come back and after we deoxygen, see what happens. All right, so I've taken the connector apart again. And again, this did, again, I'm not saying this is a foolproof way to fix stuff on these older cars, but it would not hurt to try this because again, you don't have to have the deoxit. You can get like, I think WD-40 and other various contact cleaners, but with my air conditioning system, I kept getting the F48 and F13, I think, codes. And I knew the system was pressurized and the low side was very cold. You could feel it. So you know it's working fine. So anyway, I came out here and I sprayed the connectors to go to the low side, the high side, and just cleaned them with a little brush. And I haven't seen it again since. Well, who knows what'll happen. So what we'll do, let me see how hot this is right here. I don't want nothing to catch on fire here. That thing has gotten a little hot already. I don't think this is, yeah, this says extremely flammable. Hold up. All right, guys, so I'm gonna grab my deoxit now. I decided to let the car cool down a little bit, being that this thing says extremely flammable aerosol here because the top of the engine was kind of hot-ish. I don't think it's hot enough there to worry too much about it. But what we're gonna do is let me get a little piece of paper, get a paper towel and put under here, a shop towel rather. You don't need much. You just need just one or two little zaps right under it, right inside of it. And really that's all you're gonna need. Then I'm gonna spray a few zaps inside of that and a few zaps inside of the oxygen sensor connector as well. So let's go ahead and do that. One little zap. Make sure we get enough in there to kind of flush it out a little bit. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and grab, let me slide this paper towel down a little bit. I think the oxygen sensor thing can reach it, but I'm gonna slide it a little bit more.
so it could at least catch any excess to keep it off of the engine, even though it's not that hot now. So, okay, there we go. We're gonna just let that sit in there for a minute, and then I'm gonna just empty that out. And so what I'm thinking now is that the oxygen sensor seems to be working. It might, I think it says to set that code that the oxygen sensor has to like not leave the bias voltage for a certain period of time, that bias voltage of 0.45 volts. So probably what's happening is that the maybe intermittently the oxygen sensor is just not responding to the PCM. Now you could blame it on the PCM as well, I know, but I'm gonna go ahead and in this case right here, I'm gonna do this first, and the next thing I'm gonna do, if it comes back and again, it doesn't cause any drivability issues, I'm probably gonna go ahead and change it anyways, because again, it's right here. It's in a good enough spot. I mean, you still got to be careful. There's stuff kind of in the way, but and the oxygen sensor was only $20, and I'd imagine that this is the original oxygen sensor that came in the car for sure. I wouldn't doubt that at all. And also, I do have another EGR valve on the way as well. I think the EGR valve, again, hey, some of this stuff I'm just changing just out of, just because, you know, I'm pretty sure this is original. Well, I'm gonna say original, but it's at least very old. And I know eventually that EGR valve, because I had to replace the EGR valve actually on my Monte Carlo actually, but that is a little bit older than this car. Not much older. It's only 5 years older than this car actually. What I'm trying to do now is just get in here and just rinse out, get out as much of that deoxide as I can, and make sure that it ain't too much in there that'll. Let me see. Let's squeeze it back together. That's really all you need. I mean, you can't. The other time I did a little brush and just hit it a little bit, but that was it. And so this possibly could. I mean, the oxygen sensor. You know, boy, they don't make them like they used to. The oxygen sensor still could be good. Just need a disconnector here. Just might need a little deoxide just to make it. If I can't even see. Don't you hate that? Because everything is right here, but it's just like everything is just like, it's just a few things that's right in the way, like namely the actual fuel line itself. If I could just, but also there's a vacuum hose right here, and I'm trying to be careful around that because you know how it is, the old plastic stuff. Wow, I can't. I find this amazing here. It's how literally it's right here, but because I'm trying to be so careful around all this plastic stuff here, I'm trying not to break anything. That's why it's taking me so long. This is a newer car, obviously it'd be a different story, but because everything is so old, we don't want to try to break anything. All right, there we go. We snap back in place, so that should be good. So with that said, I will keep monitoring this and see what I can come up with here. Now, another thing is that I do have the car does run apparently rich because again, the tailpipe, the exhaust is really strong. It's not super duper, well it is. And so maybe the injectors could be leaky on this thing. I'm not entirely for sure, but definitely gonna get that hopefully resolved at some point. Another thing, you see how I got something rigged up here. What happens, you see this little support here. In case I know somebody might be wondering what that is. See this little support right here? Hold on, wait a second. This little support thing right here that holds up the heater hose, and I was changing the spark plugs in the back, it actually broke. And I've epoxied this with 2 different kinds of epoxy. Nothing will bond to it good enough to hold it. So my solution, temporary solution, until I find a salvage yard that got this same engine, so I can get this what is it called? I think it's called a heater valve support bracket is what it's called. I think. How I got that? It actually even has a part number on it. You can, know if you can. I know I'm all over the place here, y'all, but give me a second here. It's a part number right here. My solution was I went and bought a cheap piece of radiator hose that was a little bit bigger, so it will allow the heater core hose to expand and contract. And then put a few zip ties around it to hold it in place, and then zip tied it to the actual strut bracket bar or the strut brace. And so that's my temporary solution to that, and that should be fine just as long as it keeps it, because I think more or less that it's really, because this right here's a fuel line, and it's really keeping it directly off that fuel line right here. So I think that that's more of the function. And plus, of course, it's probably holding it to keep tension off of this end of the hose here, right here, where it's hanging onto the little lip right here as well. So anyway, that's that, in case if you was wondering if you actually caught that in the video. But anyway, I'll keep you guys updated with the Cad. I got a couple more videos I'm going to make here soon. I'm going to go on the inside and do some stuff, and I'm going to talk about the actual review camera I got in here as well. So anyway, guys, I know that wasn't probably the most super helpful thing, but maybe you did get some insight if you work on this older cars or if you have one.